back in Australia, and here's another story. Every Friday afternoon they would have sports when you were in high school, and sports were compulsory. Now, I hated sports. And if you've ever seen Australian rules football, believe me, there's about 15 guys out there on the field, and whoever's got the ball, everyone just piles on and tries to break every bone in their body. And that's the way it works. And I thought that wasn't really what I was in for. And everyone said, we don't want boys in our team. But if you didn't play sport, you were punished. The punishment was the gardening squad. You were a member of the gardening squad. I volunteered for the gardening squad. I have all my knees, all my cartilages, my bones are all in good shape. I did not abuse my body as a youngster, and I'm grateful for it today. Well, if we talk in terms of me being a narrator at this point in time, and you say, what happened back in your childhood that may have triggered that? I can remember when I was in high school, I bought one of the very early reel-to-reel tape recorders. And we used to listen, my friends and I, to a show called The Goon Show. Now, The Goon Show, Americans would not like The Goon Show. It is British comedy at its finest, and we loved it. So we would emulate the goons on the tape recorder, and we would make our own goon shows. And that was the very beginning, when I look back at it, that I was exposed to making recordings and enjoying that. When I first went into making audiobooks, I focused on mainly the Australian books. And I met a very good Australian author. His name was Stephen King, and he wrote some thrillers. And the first thriller that he wrote sold like crazy, the audiobook. I mean, normally the audiobooks will sell maybe 10 to 100. Well, his was 800 audiobooks. I think the biggest thing is, in doing audiobooks, I love to get in the story. I've been doing an audiobook where I've cried, broken down and cried. Now, did I do it again? No, I left it in. Because when you're reading, there may be just a little break in your voice, but whatever it is, it really sends out the message of the emotional content of the book. But that's where I think AI is starting to mess things up. You can take your manuscript and send it to AI, and you can say, I want it narrated by an Englishman or an Australian or whatever voice, and bang, it costs you next to nothing, and it's back in about 5 minutes. What's going to happen though is that AI is going to make such a mess of these amateur manuscripts, because they come through to me with no punctuation, just they're a mess, and I polish them up a little. Well, I was in Toastmasters, and a couple of Toastmasters, we did the program. We did the official program there, and I learned a lot of things from it. First of all, you cannot be too critical with young minds about their abilities to speak. When you get up to give a evaluation, the last thing you're going to do is say, well, you messed that up pretty badly. You know, it's you've got to learn to be positive and upbeat, and that just at the end of it, throw in one little thing so that everyone wins. We finished the very first class we did, and I don't know whether it was Salo or another teacher said, thank you very much, but get your butt out of here, because the young girls were coming in tears after the evaluation. You know, it was not working. And I said, you know, this could be a lot of fun. I let my own sense of humor bend that program, that it was no longer an official Toastmasters program, which is why every now and then we try to avoid too many Toastmasters terminology in case they come after me. Here's one of the things that I felt about that class. There's many times when somebody's got up to speak and they've talked about the second speech you give is from the heart. We had students that got up and talked about how she was cutting herself. We had students that were talking about problems at home with being in the middle of divorce. We had students who talked about them being gay. And in every case, you've got a mixture of students from all over Roanoke, different schools, that are similarly wired because they're interested in this particular subject. But the support that they all gave one another. I mean, I've seen a class where one young lady got up and talked, and when she finished, there was a group hug. I mean, everyone just gave her a big hug. Now, this is not speech. This is developing bonding, a deep sense of bonding, because every young person out there thinks that they're the only ones that have got problems. This gave them an opportunity to share it with strangers, and it gave strangers an opportunity to respond. And that's been the most rewarding thing, I think. That's been more important than getting up and learning to speak, has been a group of guys, of kids, bonding. We take a picture, we make a big fuss about graduation, and we make a stupid name for the club and all that sort of thing. And I think at the end of it, there's a sort of camaraderie and a relaxation, and you don't learn everything at once. You just learn little bits and pieces, and if everyone takes a little bit from that class and grows it, then that will be the seed that as long as I can still move, I'll probably do that until Salo gets sick of me and kicks me out, but he and I get on pretty well together. So.